Hey, shalom everyone, this is Kris Shoemaker, also known as Yehudah ben Shomeyr, and welcome to the Daily Drash. Today's Daily Drash is taken from Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 20, and I'm going to be reading from God's Word translation. It says, "Whoever walks with wise people will be wise, but whoever associates with fools will suffer." You know, as I was reading this verse, I was thinking about my childhood and some of the playmates that I used to have. I remember our neighbors. I used to play with their grandchildren, and their grandchildren had a very unique accent. And when I would play with them, and we would be playing all day long, by the end of the day, my accent began to match theirs. Unconsciously, I started mimicking their accent because I was the minority here. You know, they're the ones, who had the majority, and so they're the ones whose speech to them appeared normal and typical, and to me it was different. And so unconsciously, throughout the day, I was the only one who spoke differently. My speech, my accents, my intonations began to match theirs. And I came home and my mom was like, "Why are you talking that way?" And then all of a sudden it dawned on me that I was speaking like them, that my words were mimicking their accent. And the same thing, you know, I grew up in Ohio and I had relatives in Kentucky. And whenever we would go down to Kentucky and spend a couple weeks there, by the end of my stay, I was starting to talk with a Southern accent, just like my cousins. And, that's just the way it was. And then when I come back home, slowly things went back to normal. And then I started speaking like myself again. My wife, she's Canadian. And Canadians have a different accent. You know, they pronounce their vowels differently. Me, I say out and about in a house with a mouse. And they say out and about in a house with a mouse. And they say a at the end of things, right? So, in Bible college, when we would go for winter break or spring break or what have you, and my wife would go home and she would come back, well, she had a Canadian accent. Her Canadian accent was thicker because she was around Canadians. You know, and when I married my wife and we lived in Nashville for many years, certain words that she would say would have a Southern drawl to them. And when I moved up to Canada, people knew that our accent was a little different. Now, my wife is totally, has the Canadian accent again because we've lived here for over a decade now. But me, even though that I've lived here for over a decade, people still know that I do not have a true Canadian accent. They say, "Oh, well, you're from somewhere else, but you're starting to sound more like us." So it says, "Whoever walks with wise people will be wise. Whoever associates with fools will suffer." Choose your company carefully. You've heard the term guilty by association, right? Whoever you're around, you can't help but have that influence rub off on you. That's why it's so important not only to choose your friends and your company and your associates and who you hang around and who you listen to carefully. It also stands to reason that you need to choose carefully what you watch on TV, the music that you listen to, because the more you watch and listen to these things, the more, even subconsciously, those things become a part of you, and you start having that philosophy and making those philosophies a part of your life, and it begins to show in your actions and show in your life. So whoever walks with wise people will be wise. You want to be wise? Find wise people to hang around with. But those who associate with fools will suffer. You want to be foolish? You want to be an idiot? Hang out with idiots, and it'll happen. It's the majority that influences the minority. It's usually not the other way around. Very rarely it's the other way around. So hang around people who you want to be like, who you want to become, because even on a subconscious level, the more you hang around them, the more you'll start to conform yourself to them. That's the same with your relationship with Messiah Yeshua. That's the same with the believer. The more you read the Bible, the more you pray, the more you worship the Lord, the more you hang out with other believers, the more you have a deeper and intimate personal relationship with Yeshua, the more you will become like him. You will be transformed and conformed into his image just by hanging around him. It's just like being around helium. Helium, you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, but if you're around it, then all of a sudden your voice starts changing, and it changes without any will of your own. It just happens because you are influenced by the power of that helium. It will change your voice. So who you hang around with will change you. So just remember that as you go throughout your day and throughout your life. Thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. Shalom and Shavua Tov. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to our social media accounts on Instagram at AD_International, on Facebook at Abraham's Descendants International, on Twitter at ADINT Ministries, and on Blogger at Ray Bash's Ramblings. And don't forget to check out and bookmark our website, abrahamsdescendants.com. Shalom.